obviously Arteta's been is involved in this. Like, we're all outside going, have you not seen him play for the last 3 or 4 seasons? Because he's got worse and worse. Obviously, Chelsea have as well. But he has been at the heart of some of those problems. What has Arteta seen in him that he thinks he can be a big part of this Arsenal side?
I think Mikel Arteta is going to follow what Pep Guardiola has done at Manchester City and play with Zinchenko as coming in and playing into midfield. So they've got 2 holding midfield players, probably with Rice when he signs. And then he'll play 2 players in the inside right and inside left position. And I think Kai Havertz, if he buys him, will be in that inside left position. And Odegaard will be in the inside right. And he'll play with Martinelli down one side, Saka down the other side, and then Jesus through the middle. So I think that's where he would see him play. Do I think he's a top-class player? At the moment, I don't think he's a top-class player. I think when he was at Bayer Leverkusen, I never understood what all the fuss was about. You know, he's a player that's got a bit of quality, but does he really dominate games? He's got a bit of pace, but does he really ever show it? He's good in the air, but how often do you see that? He's a player that's going to have to come into the side and hit the ground running. And if he is signed by Arsenal, Mikel Arteta has got to cajole him, get the best out of him. I think there's a player in there, but it's going to be up to Mikel Arteta to get the best out of him and play him in the right position. I don't think he's ever been playing in the right position at Chelsea. He's played right, he's played left, he's played centre forward, he's played in the Bergkamp role. I don't think we'll ever call him Kai Bergkamp, but he'll be playing in that role at some point. So it could be a good signing, I'm not sure.
But that would leave a huge onus on somebody like Declan Rice, who, by the way, I don't think anybody or many people would debate that would be a quality signing.
No, that's why I didn't even ask the question. Yeah. What's the point?
But dropping Odegaard a bit deeper with his skill set, I think is a big ask. Xhaka and Partey did it, but they're 2 different components. You know, they're both physical players. If Arsenal were to play the same way as last year, as Kieran was saying, he won't get in the team. He doesn't get in ahead of Martinelli. He doesn't get in ahead of Gabriel Jesus as a striker. And he certainly doesn't get in ahead of Bukayo Saka. Then you start looking at, are Arsenal paying 70 million to beef the squad up?
Right.
Which effectively you might say, well, Man City have done that to an extent. They've got Grealish and they've got Mahrez, blah, blah, blah. They've spent this to beef the squad up. If we're going to be competitive, we need to beef the squad up with these players at this price. No, a £70 million player used to be a superstar. We could contend now it could be a squad player. The problem for Arsenal is a big risk with that money because they have been burnt badly in the last 5 to 10 years with heavy prices for players who have basically failed. Kieran mentioned Bergkamp there. I was thinking about Pepe. Yes. You know, in from France, 60 million, whatever it was, fancy Dan, all the skill, all the flair. Terrible. And can Arsenal afford to spend this kind of money on somebody potentially who's not a starter and blow a big part of that budget just to beef the squad up? If it had been, and I've said this before, if this had been an Arsenal signing direct from Leverkusen, I think most of us have been sat here quite excited about it. Oh yeah, can play across the front line, can play as a striker, can play in behind the striker, is very good in the air, is physically strong. That was the guy that Chelsea signed from Bayer Leverkusen as a youngster. But somewhere along the line, whether it's him and the club or a bit of everything, he's really lost his way to an extent where Chelsea couldn't score goals. Yeah. He couldn't even get a game in a team that had literally no strikers. And now we have Arsenal talking about paying this kind of money for him. It doesn't add up, but it's one that I think it's a left field one that you might sit back and go, well, that was a bit of genius.
Right.
But it has potential to continue down the same road, and the same road that Kai Havertz has been going down in the last... And I know he scored in the Champions League final. You don't need to throw that at me. But there's 38 games a season, plus domestic competitions, plus European competitions. It's not about one game. If Havertz continues on that pathway in the same kind of form, it'll be a gigantic waste of time for Arsenal. And that's a big risk.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.